Hello everyone. As you've seen by the title of this video, I will be talking about the Jolly timeline. Now, because Jolly is a FNAF fan game, it will not perfectly line up with the canon FNAF timeline. So now sit down and listen for the story I am about to tell you started as this. Oliver Johnson and William Afton would begin a partnership that would lead into the founding of Jolly Entertainment, though not yet being an official company. Fazbear Entertainment would help Jolly Entertainment build their company, leading to the official announcement of Jolly Entertainment. With a need now to produce animatronics, they used a building built 3 years prior as a new facility that would be used to test and manufacture animatronics located in Oregon. It would be called the Afton-Johnson Manufacturing Facility. The mascots that would be associated with Jolly Entertainment were not made by the company or the founder, but instead made by an employee at Fazbear Entertainment. Eric Smith made these characters using the money from Fazbear Entertainment without them knowing. So when they found out about it, they fired him. But now that they had these animatronics, they decided to give them to Jolly Entertainment. Then Jolly Entertainment would use them in a small diner in Anaheim, California. It was a success and made a demand for more. During the growth of Jolly Entertainment, Eric Smith was allowed to be rehired because of his latest invention, the Internet. It was very impressive and made Fazbear Entertainment interested working with him again. So now, the Internet was owned by Fazbear Entertainment and Eric Smith. Things were going well until one day. The day 5 children would go missing and never be found. On that particular day, another event happened, Bring Your Daughter to Work Day, which Eric Smith had participated in. Zoe had entered the building without her father, and William Afton saw this and brought her back in the safe room. Eric Smith, try as he might, could not save his daughter, and was only able to call the cops outside of the room. When the police came and arrested Afton, there was not enough evidence to prosecute him. The bodies of the children remained a mystery, only fueled by rumors and speculation. Once again, Eric Smith was fired as a result of the location shutting down, with the animatronics being shipped away to the facility, accompanied with a spare of Jolly and George sent back for testing. The death of Zoe caused a major disruption in the marriage of Eric Smith and his wife, Toni Smith. She blamed him for her death and filed for divorce. Fazbear Entertainment kept the Internet and worked on it until it was completed, even though it didn't have a proper use. The rumors and speculation spread fast, so much so that Eric Smith got hold of it, wanting to see if these rumors were true. Eric Smith volunteered to be the cargo watcher on the ship the animatronics were being shipped on, being under the false identity that he got from his middle name, Liam. He spent cold and long nights alone on the ship trying to find his daughter. Somehow, even under the false identity of Liam, William Afton was still able to know it was him and made the animatronics aggressive by certain lighting. What was surprising to him was how the spirits in the Fazbear animatronics were also going after Eric Smith. They thought he was a bystander who stood and heard as they died. After an offload, Eric Smith decided to visit his wife on his break, though things didn't go so well, as they got into a fight about the divorce. Both of them were left angry once Eric Smith left, and, in a fit of rage, Toni followed him onto the ship in search of finding him in the humid ship. She instead found a room full of his inventions, with exposed circuits and wires all about. Frustrated and grieving, she decided to trash all his possessions as a way to get back at him, removing the things that were important to him. Just as she was getting the last thing, the internet, Eric came rushing in from the office and tried to warn her, but he was too late. The exposed circuit and humid air made her body drop dead as soon as she touched the internet. Panic set in and he fled the scene. Workers came rushing in from the loud noise they heard, and Eric Smith knew he had to hide fast. He went into the room where the Jolly and George animatronics were kept, and put Jolly on as a spring lock suit hastily. Pulling back the spring locks, he made back and hid just in time before someone came in. He thought he was safe. The coast was clear, and he heard the crowd fade away. He stood up, his body shaking slightly and covered in sweat, and felt metal blades pierce into his flesh. He collapsed onto the ground, lifeless, as he slowly bled out, completely silent. His investigation was cut short. He never did figure out that those rumors were true, and he kept trying and trying until fate finally caught up to him. After the incident was discovered, Jolly Entertainment was told by Fazbear Entertainment to cover it up, since it was their animatronic that caused it. Not wanting to be involved with the case whatsoever, Fazbear Entertainment cut ties with them, temporarily until it was sorted out. Jolly Entertainment went into a hiatus for the next 3 years, and shut down all of their restaurants, and went silent until they knew what to do next. With no support and little money left, Jolly Entertainment decided to make themselves a fresh new look, and would have a new character to go along with it, rebranding their main location, and opening a new one in Los Angeles. They made Jolly and George's color palette more blue, and added a new character, Tweety the Bird. Due to low funding, the animatronics did not have many features, but they did have noticeable emotions that were not that strong but strong enough to be noticed. During a performance at the Anaheim location, an accident occurred. George was performing on stage until he lost power and fell over, damaging him enough that he could not be repaired due to the low budget. As a fix, they replaced him with Tweety, putting her alongside with Jolly. The second generation of animatronics were a hit, and made Jolly Entertainment stable enough to reconnect their partnership with Fazbear Entertainment, and now that things were financially stable, they began work on their third generation of animatronics. Their first attempt didn't go as they hoped. They tried going back to their classic style of animatronics, like the first generation, but the public were used to seeing them with the new look now, and didn't like the old style, thinking they were too rough and ugly. Only Tweety and her new partner, Maxie, which had been added since they needed someone to go along with her, had prototypes that looked like this. These prototypes were scrapped and stripped of their parts, being used as security bots for the abandoned Afton Johnson manufacturing facility, as the first request made by the new CEO, Kevin Johnson. Oliver Johnson had retired, and passed down his role to Kevin Johnson to have him follow in his footsteps, finish what he started, and continue expanding Jolly along the West Coast. After Kevin Johnson became CEO, Jolly Entertainment moved to a bigger facility, still located in Oregon. That was an overall improvement to the now old AJNF, though. It would actually be left to rot because of the presumed death of William Afton, who was rumored to be buried in the facility. Even though it was abandoned, it was still powered because of the robots that were guarding the place, having the spring lock Jolly and Antoinette as some of them. In the new facility, they built a third-generation prototype for Jolly in his classic style. As stated before, the people didn't like it, and Jolly Entertainment finally made the third generation, called the Fantasy Animatronics, Blue, and have maintenance faceplates. The final Fantasy Animatronics were made just before the closing of their second generation restaurants, having the location shut down for 2 years to prepare for their third generation restaurants, and make small testing and manufacturing facilities near each property respectively. Once again, it was a success, and for the next decade, they would only spend their money renovating and expanding their restaurants. Years later, conspiracies arose from Jolly Entertainment, making people curious about secrets they had hidden. This all ended up leading Jack Carson and his partner, Theodore Murphy, to investigate the abandoned Afton Johnson manufacturing facility. Jack Carson was the person who was going in and getting evidence, while Theo was the guide, helping Jack out with what objective he had to do. Unfortunately, he sat on almost every security box in the building, collecting evidence that wasn't that substantial. The spirit of Tony, inside the Antoinette, was watching Jack in the facility until she asked for him to find out about her death and her daughter, hoping that, if they're reunited, they would be at peace. Jack is unable to do so, and while the spirit of Tony understands, the actual animatronic has a mind of its own that sometimes doesn't align with her actions. The Fazbear spirits took his denial personally and tormented Jack like they did with Eric Smith, this time as phantoms. They also influenced the animatronic Antoinette to attack Jack as well. Because there wasn't that much evidence, Theo got frustrated and sent Jack down into the underground section of the facility to get more evidence, or an inactive animatronic. George and Jolly followed Jack into the underground facility, along with the Antoinette. During the investigation, he found out about Eric Smith dying in the Jolly suit and deciphered audio logs. After doing 5 night shifts as part of a security test, he's finally allowed to go into the cargo and storage area in the building. He discovered the corpse of William Afton inside the spring body suit. Just as he was walking to examine it more clearly, the building starts to collapse and, without hesitation, he runs back into the elevator he came from and escapes as the building crumbles away. After being around for so long, the building became too old and fell as all the animatronics inside were crushed and destroyed. The aftermath was silent. Jolly Entertainment came in swiftly, removing anything that might hurt their brand, taking the Antoinette, Jolly and Springtrap as most important. Taking in the Antoinette, they placed her in a Jolly Fantasy restaurant in parts and service. The Antoinette was very hostile and Tony did not have any control over it other than spiritual sense. Afterwards, a new guard is hired to this location, Mikhail, who was not made aware that the animatronics would be hostile to him, since they were not aware he was supposed to be in the building. A week later, he got his paycheck and left, not wanting to return. His absence was bad timing, since someone broke in and trashed the animatronics. The Antoinette was set free, and the perpetrator left in fear. Even though this event could have been covered up, they found this incident to be a gateway to a new era of Jolly Entertainment, Generation 4. They decided to do a look that they had not done before, taking inspiration from the glamour of the 1930s to 1950s. Jolly cut ties with Fazbear Entertainment, as they are finally able to sustain themselves. As a parting gift, they granted them full ownership of the Antoinette, known to them as the Metallionette. They started working on Generation 4, with Antoinette as a member. Publicly known as Toll, they made a short sitcom series to promote the restaurants and To get a gauge of how people would react, they opened one restaurant in Sacramento, California, in need of a watchman who will finish what he started. Thank you for watching. This had been in the making for a while, and I am glad it's finally out. Have a good day. And stay yappy.